Hello there everyone, Ragewood here, back with another Godforge video. And in this Tuesday's video, we're getting some VFX and also your final call for the beta. And Simon does explain a little bit what's going to happen after this. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, as always, I will leave a link to the full video in a pinned comment down below if you wish to see it without my ramblings over the top.
Before we get onto that, though, I want to talk to you about something very important. You might have seen it from the other content creators that are covering Godforge. Today is the last day to sign up for the beta. We've actually got over 40,000 people signed up to play the beta when we go live. With that, it's going to be towards the end of May, or might be a little bit later. We're actually discussing that this week internally to make sure that we deliver something awesome for you guys to actually play test.
There it is, straight from the horse's mouth. It's the final countdown. Yes, that's it. At the time of recording, you have 6 hours. 6 hours to get your chance to sign up and join in on this. Don't wait. Get signed up now so you don't miss out. I did mention it in a post as well. My site for the longest time has had a countdown of when the beta is going to launch, and that is in June. I think it's actually set for like the 12th of June, something like that. Now, as I've said all along, that's not me saying that I expected there to be a delay, but I was just sort of being cautious, hedging my bets. They are having a meeting this week. Obviously, we won't know the outcome of that until further down the line, but I personally wouldn't be surprised if it does shift. They wouldn't be having this conversation if it hadn't at least crossed their minds. I am very much in the camp of take as long as it needs to deliver a good quality product, and they're going to be comparing it to other games and other betas, and obviously we don't see everything, so only they will know truly how they match up, and they want to deliver a good product for us, which I completely get.
Stuff going in build already, like we're starting to flesh out what the
Ooh, so we get a look at the dungeons. This is really cool, actually. Right, we're gonna... So we have the Forge of Brokir. This is new to us. The Workshop of Tar. And then I think that said Svarog's Horde.
Starting to flesh out what the
Yeah, Svarog's Horde and the Lair of Fafnir. So the Lair of Fafnir is the only one that we have had any kind of leak on. That and the Shrine of Hercules. So we know what boss we're going to be facing. This looks sick. The art is probably AI generated, and that's okay because it might just be filler at this stage. But looks like I've got some work to do, and we can deep dive into what all of these are going to be. That's super exciting. So just taking a look at all of these. So the Lair of Fafnir, as dragons, it said that Smaug from Lord of the Rings, it was often based on Fafnir. So I completely get this one. This could be a gold dungeon. He didn't click on the Ascension dungeon side of things, so I would imagine that this is perhaps some sort of gold dungeon. We then have Svarog's Horde. Now, Svarog is a Slavic god, a god of fire and blacksmithing, similar to that of Hephaestus. If you know that from Greek mythology, that's probably the easiest sort of comparison. Now, I'm not aware of any treasures per se that Svarog had, but as he was a blacksmith, he could obviously make himself lots of coins and things like that. So not entirely sure where the Horde comes from. I think he's the ruler of Prav, which is like the heavenly realm and of spirits. Not really sure what this one's going to be. He was a blacksmith, so potentially this could be some sort of gear dungeon. That would be my logical thinking there. Not necessarily a hoard in gold, but perhaps a hoard as in valuable treasures, axes, gear, that kind of thing. So then, working on the same vein, unsurprisingly, we have the Workshop of Tar. Now, Tar was a creator god, god of craftsmen in Egyptian mythology, similar to Svarog. So I imagine, again, it's going to be some sort of gear farming dungeon. Which might be the reason they've not gone for Hephaestus, because Hephaestus is quite an obvious choice. So I like where they've gone with this. So once again, I would, naturally assume this is going to be some sort of gear farming. Exactly what gear, we don't know, but you would imagine it's going to be like Raid Shadow Legends, where you're going to have sort of different sets in each one, and hopefully they split it up, unlike Raid. So Raid Ice Golems, just like, there's no need to go there very quickly, whereas you would farm Fire Knight and you would farm Dragon quite often. So hopefully they split the sets up, so even some of the lesser sets are in them, and some of the good sets, so you still have to farm each one. And I don't think I need to tell you, because you've already guessed it, but Brokir is another god of blacksmithing and craftsmanship, and is to do with Norse mythos. So just click back here. So that's already unlocked. So there we are. Those are probably our 3 gear dungeons. Now, I said Fafnir's Lair might be gold, possibly, but the fact that these 3 seem to be quite obvious gear dungeons, perhaps I'm wrong in that regard, and Fafnir is also some sort of gear dungeon, so we shall see. But yeah, there you go. Very brief summary on who those deities are. Okay, so then we get to see the Ascension Dungeon as well. So the Shrine of Hercules we did know about as well. Now, this is one that we've seen sort of grey concept to it. I said maybe this is where the treasure golem's gonna be. Maybe. No confirmation, though. Shrine of Hercules, though, that is very cool. We then have Guanyin's Lotus Temple and Kitsune. So that's Jade. That is... because this is something else I figured, right? I said, will we get a dungeon inspired by each mythos? Fafnir is Asgardian. Svarog is Slavic, so that'll be Virage. Brokir was Norse, and Tar is Egyptian. We then got the Shrine of Hercules, which is Olympian. Jade, Kitsune is Japanese. So we're only missing Eka, Svarga and Avalon, and then that is all of the dungeons accounted for. We do have 2 Norse, so that kind of throws it out the window. But I like that still there is a variety in mythos being depicted through the dungeons. We know who Hercules is. Guanyin, so Chinese deity. Just looking this one up because this one I don't know. It's a goddess of mercy and compassion, originating from Indian mythology, and is a central figure in Chinese Buddhism. That's cool, like that. So then a forest glade of Kitsune. So Kitsune themselves aren't gods, I don't think. They are, unsurprisingly, 9-tailed foxes, often seen to have some sort of supernatural abilities. Well, they're supernatural creatures with godlike powers, including metamorphoses. That's a pretty cool one. And then Unwin itself is not a god, but a place. It is sort of the other world in Welsh mythology. So this is very much going to be an Arthurian or Celtic inspired. You would imagine that is Arorn. Now, Arorn was the guy who ruled that area. But I love that they're bringing Welsh mythologies into it, not just Arthurian legend. I know Celtic sort of encompasses all of the British Isles, but it's nice that they're focusing on other key lesser known areas. Now, whether there is another one after this for the Eka faction, we don't know, but that would be cool to see, and that would only leave a Svarga-inspired one after that as well. We then get to see a basic ability for Icarus. This is Icarus's basic ability, and this looks very cool. I love the look of this. He's a winged hero, arrow. We see like the sort of red circle animation here. The feathers are popping off it as well. Simon does show this as well. Yeah, love that. So slowed down version. Yeah, looking awesome. And that's the basic ability for a rare. So imagine the level of detail that's going to be going into the ultimates and things of some of these other people and legendary heroes, which we get to see now. So this is Osiris's ult, which is very cool. Now, for the record, this is the Medjay. We've not actually seen them yet, but I know it's a common hero. I've seen sort of the tip of the head in a border, so that to me I think is Medjay, who were the shepherds of Egyptian mythology. Cyrus is a brawler. We know he's an epic brawler, wisdom affinity, but his ultimate is a cast, which is interesting. Now, we can see that sort of shadow energy that he sort of brings in the wind-up, which looks very cool. Watch it one more time. But yeah, interesting that a brawler ultimate is a cast ability. But Simon does have something very interesting to say, which I want to sort of touch in on.
Again, we'll slow it down so you can get a feel for it. We've got the sort of build up, the empowerment moment, and this is kind of like a dark ether type of ability. So all of our heroes have got their own kind of like magic types and abilities, which help sell what's going on.
So we said all of our heroes have their own magic types and abilities, which help sell things. Now, magic types is the thing I want to touch in on there. So we know that there are affinity types, okay? And magic types is interesting because that suggests it works similar to like Pokemon, where it's not just wisdom, cunning, and strength. You've got energy types as well, like dark or ghost type, that kind of thing. Now that adds a whole new level of complexity, which I don't think Fateless have leaned into. Just want to say that outright. But if they have the team compositions and the amount of thinking we're going to have to do as players, for me, that is really cool. I love that. But some people might not like the complexity. So it'd be interesting to see if that is an avenue that they have gone down. But if they have, I personally am all for it. You know, cunning, having a cunning hero that with dark energy, you might be up against a wisdom hero, which you're weak against, but they might also be weak to some sort of dark energy, which so you have a chance. So it's interesting. I think way too complex, but it's interesting that that's what he said.
Let's take a look at Odin then. So Odin's been in the game for ages, honestly, but he's just kind of been dormant whilst we've been like leveling up our VFX and animations and really understanding what we're going to do with him. So we've now got his core ability here, which was done recently.
Now we know this is Hunting Party. That's really cool. So we've seen pictures of it a while ago. At the same time we saw Hell's abilities as well, which is like the roots of Yggdrasil and like the dead that don't lie or something like that. And we've seen Ragnarok. We've seen some early animations of Ragnarok a while ago. This is the first time we've seen Hunting Party, which is really cool. So we've got Hugin and Munin, the Ravens, as well as his wolves. And we know Jerry's going to be in the game. It wouldn't Gary, rather. Wouldn't surprise me if we see one of the Ravens as well as like a common or uncommon hero. You wind up. See all the wolves coming in, the whirling tornado, like a snowy sort of blizzard snowstorm.
So bam. This one's called the Hunting Party. So he goes in there with his ravens and his wolves in cool Odin fashion. This is absolutely brilliant work from Brian.
Odin is a disruptor though, so we haven't seen anything yet, any of his kit outside of the names and now the animations. But a disruptor is obviously going to be someone who is either placing debuffs, affecting turn meter, maybe divinity charge. I'm still certain that's what initiative is. Interesting to know what he does, because he just looks like a damage powerhouse, to be fair. But perhaps his ultimate is an AoE stun, maybe? Because this certainly doesn't look like he's placing CC.
And obviously we're going to have the sound effects that come over the top of this as well from Norbert. And then we've got the Odin ult as well, which has been refined this week as well.
So this we have seen before, but it wasn't quite finished. That looks wicked now. Yeah, that could definitely be some sort of stun. Ragnarok was to do with Asgard burning, so maybe it places burns too. But I want to catch that circle explosion.
Again, that kind of build up and then the payoff residual just to get the feel. This one is Ragnarok.
That is cool as. That is very much a legendary level impact. That is sweet. Love that.
I really love the color schemes in this one, man. It's absolutely beautiful work from Brian here. Let's show it one more time. Very nice. So one of the things we really like about our kind of like idea of our game is that you're able to destroy some of the background in certain situations, and we're kind of like working through that. So it's almost like a bit of an Easter egg type feel for when it's going to happen.
I mean, firstly, can we just take a moment to say how precarious that building is? Like, I would not live in that house. So that you're just asking for it to fall over.
It might be an achievement unlocked when it happens, but
that is interesting. So I sort of split that up there very much at the wrong time.
About our kind of like idea of our game is that you're able to destroy some of the background in certain situations, and we're kind of like working through that. So it's almost like a bit of an Easter egg type feel for when it's going to happen. It might be an achievement unlocked when it happens, but we're basically working through the technology to be able to make it happen on structures and also enable it to happen when a certain thing occurs. So that
I think is really cool. And it's a nice little tease or giveaway for when you have done something. So we know that there's going to be reliquaries or secret rooms where they open if you meet certain requirements. None of us know what they are. We know that some of the masteries are going to be chaos masteries as well. So again, you won't know what they are until it happens. So the fact that the environment blowing up is a giveaway, I think, is a very, very nice way of doing it. Very subtle and sort of little nod to sort of, well done, you have done something. Really like that idea of things. I'd also just like to take a moment to say that we have Isis in game. So we can see her there now. We know that she's been in game because we've seen her in her T-pose, but it's cool to see that her abilities and such are moving along now, as well as Achilles.
Just like an item. So again, anything that we create in 3D, we've got the ability to basically apply this type of logic to it to be able to make it crumble. We're not gonna have it everywhere. It would be a bit over the top, but see up here.
Nice.
Pretty cool. Anyway, so we will be able to trigger when those type of things go off.
And that is all for today. Now, something that I have skipped some of what you've seen today. We have something similar for you on Friday, so do be sure to check that out. You know, come support your favourite creators. That's me. And yeah, I clearly have a lot of work to do on the website now, updating the dungeons and things like that, and that's fun. It's exciting. I like this. This is good. But yeah, look after yourselves. Take care. Work hard. As always, play harder. And I'll see you in another one soon. Cheers.